Welcome to Brazil, the land that the Portuguese explorer Pedro Álvares Cabral conquered and discovered in 1500. Look at the natural beauty of this place, the beautiful Brazilwood trees, the lovely grass, and the beautiful flowers. However, Brazil was not the only part of the colonial empire of the Portuguese. Their colonial holdings also included parts of Africa and trade posts in India and Malaysia. On today's episode of Discovering the New World with the Portuguese, we will be discussing how the Portuguese conquered and maintained their lovely empire. The New World was split up in 1494 in the Treaty of Tordesillas between the Spanish and the Portuguese. The Pope decided that lines would be drawn in the east and the west, giving Portugal possession of Africa and Asia and most of the New World to the Spanish. However, when Philip II of Spain inherited the crown of Portugal, the lines were basically no longer valid. So Portugal was able to expand its Brazilian colony into the Amazon forest past the Tordesillas line. However, none of the other countries respected this, especially the Protestant countries like England and France, and the Dutch, who continued to attack Portuguese and Spanish colonies and ships.
Henry the Navigator is widely known as one of the greatest European navigators of all time. When Henry was 21, his father and brothers captured the port of Ceuta in northern Morocco. Under his rule, new lighter Portuguese ships managed to sail past Morocco and went past the Senegal River and further down the African coast. They found gold and established colonies on what is now the Gold Coast, and by the late 1400s, the Portuguese were importing around 1,000 African slaves a year into Europe. In 1419, Henry's father appointed him governor of the province of the Algarve. In 1498, Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer, rounded the Cape of Good Hope and reached Calicut in southwestern India. His original dealings with the Zamorin are provided.
Entity, Rai, Chi!
Hey!
Whoa. Spice for sample.
Oh, sample? Okay, no problem, bro.
Here you go.
Very good.
Da Gama arrived in Calicut again in 1502, this time to take revenge on the Zamorin.
Hey!
We friends no more. No me gusta.
ఒకరు నాకెదురొచ్చినా నేను వాడికెదురొచ్చినా వాడికే రిస్క్ తొక్కి పోడేస్తా
After Vasco da Gama's little adventure in Calicut, his colleague Alfonso Albuquerque arrived and conquered the Indian territory of Goa in 1509. Thereafter, Goa became the base of all of Portugal's operations throughout Asia. In 1511, Albuquerque sailed to the Malay Peninsula and conquered the area of Malacca and made that a Portuguese colony. Using Albuquerque's model as a lead, Portugal established trading posts throughout Asia and Africa.
Hey man, how are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Spencer Lee, and he is a colonial researcher and expert at Rice University in Texas. So Mr. Lee will be telling us about the social organization in Portugal's colonies. So let's get started.
So the higher class consisted of white plantation owning families that were linked to Portuguese officials. The middle class consisted of the mixed people and the poorer white people and free Africans and the indigenous people. The lower class just consisted of slaves.
And what about the natives?
The natives. The natives, they were in the forests doing their own thing, but what we do know about them is that they were on the fringe of society.
Oh, I see. And did this apply throughout the Portuguese Empire?
Yes. This applied throughout the whole Portuguese Empire.
And did the Spanish counterparts of the Portuguese encouraged mixing between the Spanish men and the native women?
Yes, they did. They encouraged it a lot.
The Portuguese as well?
Yes.
Okay. So very good. It's been a pleasure having you, my boy. So come back and visit. Hey, what's up, man? How are you? Good. Hey, guys. This is Dr. Alvin Ta, and he's a researcher from the Universidad Católica Portuguesa in Lisbon. And today, he is here to tell us about the governmental structure of the colonial possessions of the Portuguese Empire. So let's get started,
Okay.
Mr. Ta.
In Africa, we have trading post, monopoly on trade for 100 years. Similar in India and Southeast Asia, they have the trading post as well.
So let me summarize. In Africa, they have trading posts.
Oh, I forgot to mention, trading posts were owned by Portuguese, private investors.
Oh, okay. So the African trading posts were owned by private Portuguese investors.
See,
Yes, good. And in Asia and India, they are similar
Asia
structure.
and Southeast India, and Southeast Asia, I mean, similar as well.
Okay, very good.
However, in Brazil was divided into 15 hereditary captaincies that were granted to nobles who had to take pay of the colonization. However, only 2 of these prospered. They grew sugarcane, and that's why they prospered.
So they divided into individual little provinces,
Yes.
right? Captaincies.
Yes.
And each one had to take care of his own.
Yes.
And he reports directly to the King of Portugal. right?
Yes,
Okay.
which I'm about to mention next. That in 1548, the central government was owned by the king. However, the governor general was led by Tome de Souza, and everybody had to report to the local governor for everything.
So the local governors of each captaincy had to report to
The local government, Tome de Souza.
the Governor General of Brazil.
See.
And he reported to the king.
Yes.
So, okay, 1548.
Yes.
Good. Thank you, sir.
The Jesuits were an integral part of Portugal's colonization efforts throughout the world. For example, in Brazil, Jesuit missionaries set up missions in order to convert and educate natives. Many Jesuit missionaries saved natives from the horrors of slavery. Brazil is now one of the most populous Roman Catholic countries in the entire world.
The economy in Brazil was dependent on sugarcane, and the Brazilians cultivated sugarcane using natives and Africans as slaves. Now, the slave trade was an integral part of Portugal's economy. By the end of the 1400s, the Portuguese were importing around 1,000 African slaves a year into Europe. In addition, Brazil had valuable agricultural commodities, such as Brazil wood, which was used to make red dye, and spices were also traded rapidly throughout the Portuguese Empire from Asia, Africa, and Brazil.
In the 1700s, gold and diamonds were found in Brazil, but until then, the primary source of gold and silver for the Portuguese Empire was from Asia. Oh, hey. Thanks for tuning in to Building an Empire, Portugal edition. We'll see you next time.